Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In this video I'd like to walk you through how I built a round bell feeder. First, I traced out using soapstone on the concrete an idea of the diameter I wanted the feeder to be, which is about 8 feet. Next, I went through the process of bending the round tube. The tubing I decided to use is 2 inch by 20 foot long with a 13 gauge thickness. Obviously, this is my first time I've ever built a round bell feeder, so you will get the opportunity to watch me struggle on how to figure out the location of this pipe bender. Of course, the first ring I tried to build was pretty rough, but as I worked through the process, I began to figure out how much I needed to pump the jack in order to make that smooth bend. Next, I created a template for the pipe bends around the feeder where the cattle will stick their heads. I did end up using some scrap 2x4s to accomplish this. After I was happy with the template, I cut a piece and used the jack to form it up, which to my surprise, I actually thought looked pretty good for the first time. With that, I cut 11 more pieces and bent them accordingly and set them aside. Since I was doing an 8-foot diameter feeder, and the tubing comes in 20-foot lengths, I would need just over 5 foot of extra tubing, which I am cutting here and will weld to the previously bent tubing. Again, this is the first ring that I bent, so I had a lot of tinkering to make it come together. Of course, the other 2 rings were a lot easier since I got my bends more accurate the first time. Here I just got done cutting 12 pieces of tubing to go around the bottom. Of course, I needed one more and I had a couple of leftover pieces from earlier, so using a piece of angle iron as a guide, I was able to weld them together and cut to length. While I am welding this together, I figured I could share with you the reason why I decided to build this. We have had countless hay rings on the ranch over the years, and while they are lightweight and maneuverable, they do seem to be crushed by enthusiastic cattle, let's say. If it's not that, sometimes they simply just rust out. Another flaw with those kinds of feeders is that they come in 3 pieces, which are obvious weak points and tend to fail rather quickly, not to mention that you have to pay attention that the bolts don't start to come loose at those joints, which is why I decided to make this round bell feeder one piece in order to reduce the chances of this feeder getting crushed. Here I am cutting out some legs that are going to go on the bottom of this feeder in order to keep it off the ground and reduce its chances of rusting. To help keep as much hay in the ring as possible, I decided to place a skirt around the bottom using some leftover conveyor belt that my dad found at a local co-op that was used to move fertilizer. I mentioned this in a video I did a couple months ago where I built some shooting targets, but you can typically get this for free at your local co-op if you ask. It's really tough and great for a wide range of applications. To secure the skirt around the bottom, I use carriage bolts about every foot on the top and bottom of this belting. Now you're probably wondering how much this feeder weighs, and it's about 380 pounds, which really doesn't feel that heavy when you do lift it up. The last thing I needed to do was just paint the hay ring. First, I cleaned all the machine oil off the tubing using simple green and several shop towels. When I clean off machine oil like this, I like to go when I stop seeing oil on the shop towel, which took me about 3 passes to get clean. Now that I know that I have all the machine oil off the tubing, all that is left now to do is paint. After I put my respirator on, I used a spray paint can that acts as both a paint and primer and applied 3 coats. Anyway, here it is in the pasture. The orange is great as you can see it from a distance and has a clean look up close, I think. We will soon take it out to the cattle, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.